Welcome back, everybody. For the last 30 years, I've hit estate sales, garage sales, flea market swap meets, auctions all over the country. And today, I hit the biggest score ever. Now, it's not the largest amount I've ever bought at one time, and it's not the biggest brand names I've ever bought. But when you hear what I paid for this stuff, you're probably going to have the same reaction I did. These were bought from an auction house. I'll let you know what I paid towards the end of the video. I would like to give a special shout out to my uncle. He pointed out this auction. He actually has his own YouTube channel. He does all two-haul videos. He probably has 60 or 70 of them by now. Finds a lot of good stuff. So if you like two-haul videos, check him out, subscribe. He tipped me off about this auction about a week ago, and man, what a score it was. This was not an auction lot. This was outside the auction. Stuff they did not have a chance to list, and they needed it gone that day. So let's take a look. So everything here was bought for one price, which I'll share later on. First box up here is a box of sockets. Some of these are 1/2 inch. I think some of these are 3/4. So I checked like 3 or 4 of these, and all of them were marked Matco. Matco USA, I believe. Not sure that every last socket in here is Matco. Like I said, some are 1/2 inch. Some of these bigger ones are 3/4. But so far, that might be a 1 inch. I think that's a 1 inch. All bigger sockets, 1 inch and above. So there's obviously some shallow, some deep, some 1/2 inch, and some 3/4 drive. And it looks to be at least one 1 inch drive. There's another 1 inch drive. Well, actually, this is it's got a square on both ends. I think that's considered a spud socket, if I'm remembering right. Let's see if I can fish these out of here. Let's see. That's a 2 1/4, 3/4 drive. Looks like a mouse probably made a little nest in here, or this was just sitting in the dustiest area ever. That's last one in here is a 2 3/16, 3/4 drive. So some pretty good size sockets. So next up we have this little 15-pound anvil. Obviously it says probably made in China, but that's okay. It's handy to have a couple of these just close by where you can throw it on the bench and just use it for smaller stuff. It does say $3 down here. That may be what the old owner paid, but that's not what I paid. This next box is probably going to be kind of random. I was just kind of grabbing stuff and throwing it on a table, and this box was full of hex key sets. So I don't even know what's all in here. I was just grabbing stuff by the box full, really. This first thing up is a pretty nice S-Swing framing hammer. Something I don't have is a really good framing hammer. This one's got the waffle face. But very nice hammer. Still, I got a lot of life left in that one. The handle, I don't know if it's been replaced, but somebody didn't miss very often. Next up we have this older 1/2 inch snap-on breaker bar. NS15, I believe, is the part number. I would guess it's probably 1940s, possibly even 1930s. I grabbed these as soon as I saw them. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 in here. These are old, I think it's Hinsdale or Hinsdale wrenches. I'll take out these 3 for now. There could be a 4th in there, but that's kind of a cool brand made back in the day. I always like their old logo. I just think it's kind of a cool looking logo. So we got 3 of those box end wrenches. Here's some more sockets. This is a SK. There's 3 sockets in here. I think they're all SK. Yeah, we got a 26mm 1/2 inch drive, 24mm, and a 27mm. Then we got this Armstrong Armalloy 7/8 wrench. And I knew that this was just a cheapo, but yeah, it's kind of a neat little flex head, stubby. It's a pro grade. I have a Jacobs chuck key in there, once sold by Goodwill. There's a key ring here with 4 different wrenches on it. First one's a Proto 5/16. Also have a Crescent 10mm. Then there's 2 here that I found kind of interesting. This is a Napa Professional. It is made in the USA. I'm not sure who was making these for Napa. Also a Proto Professional 5/8 combination. There's 4 of these Eklund USA hex wrench sets. Actually, there's one that's a Torx, and then the other ones are all hex. 2 SAE, 1 metric, and the Torx. And there's a few more Eklund hex wrench sets. A couple missing in a few of these. And another Eklund set. Hopefully I'm saying Eklund right. I don't know if it's pronounced some other way. This set just says made in the USA. It's not branded. Little metric set. And here's another Eklund. And to finish off the box, there's 10 of these Chuck keys in here. I'm not sure if they're branded, but oh, this one does say Jacobs. I'm definitely going to keep these around because it seems like every time I need one, I can't find one. We're going to move on to the pail that had a bunch of hammer handles sticking out of it. So I have a pile in front of me, and some of you can't see off camera, of everything out of that bucket. Mostly hammers, but I also threw some other tools in there. First one up is a Stanley little claw hammer made in Mexico. Next is an S-Wing claw hammer, slightly more used S-Wing, and maybe even a little bit rougher than the last one. S-Wing, yeah, definitely rougher than the last one. And then we got one new with the tags on. Now only $20.99. So this is a framing hammer, 28 ounce. Got the waffle face on it. I think I'd still go for the wooden handle one I showed you earlier. Maybe I'm crazy. We got a handful of ball peen hammers in here. This one doesn't seem to have a branding anywhere. Next one up is an old Stanley. This one's a Vaughn. Oh, it's a double-sided. If you're missing the S-Wings, we got a few more of those too. Here's an old Craftsman ball peen. Here is a hammer I'm not familiar with. Not sure I've ever seen a hammer quite like this. This one is stamped Germany on the bottom, and I believe it says Dixon on the top, if I'm reading that right. So if anyone knows what this hammer is used for, please drop it in the comments. I have an older Stanley claw hammer. Back to the S-Wings. Here's another clearance, $13.29. Bottom on clearance, never used. Here is yet another S-Wing new with the tags. It's got the waffle face on this one as well. Another S-Wing, and another one, older one. So I think there was about a dozen S-Wing hammers in there. This is a Blue Point fiberglass handle. Looks like they missed a few times, but there's still plenty of life left in that one. Here's a no-name 24-ounce ball peen, probably like a Harbor Freight hammer. Here's a neat little ball peen. It says Marion, 4-ounce, forged in the USA. Next is what I assume is a brass hammer. So I think they must have almost like a replaceable tip. Looks like there's a separated tip on there, and this side just has a hole in the end. So I'm guessing there was a tip on this side that's obviously no longer there. So I got this for my kid because I had one as a kid, and I always thought they were kind of cool. And I'm sure he's going to think it's kind of cool. He's 12 years old, so it's probably right down his alley. I think this is the last hammer in the pail. There's some other tools that are still coming. It's an S-Wing Sure Strike. I think this would be considered like a tack hammer. Next up, there were 4 of these in there. These are all Snap-on SPB1. That's a spark plug boot puller, old school style. And there's actually 4 of them in there, which is kind of rare because I think I've only had 1 or 2 of these in the last 30 years. So there's 4 right there. There was this diamond. I think this is a 12-inch adjustable. Didn't even see if it worked. Just threw it in the pail. Then there's a smaller channel locks, tongue and groove pliers. And also this 12-inch crescent. This is a Jamestown. And then we have this Snap-on tool. I don't know if this is the part number because I don't see a part number on here, although there is a grind mark, and maybe somebody might have ground off the part number. But I feel pretty confident, and I could be totally off base, but I think this is for adjusting valves. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I wasn't sure if this next set of pliers had a brand on it. I can't see one. But some of the Snap-ons and Mac kind of just had like that laser engraving that did wear off after a while. And could be one of those, but either way, it's good to have some long reach pliers. And then the final 2 items in this pail are 3/8 drive Proto with a hard handle. I've never had Proto ratchets like this before. I assume they're made in the USA. Yes, it says made in the USA. They both seem to be basically in new condition. This next tool is a little hard to show because I think it's about 36 inches long. The snap-on speeder handle. Part number F4NA. And I believe that comes back to like a 32 or 36 inch long speeder. Okay, this next box is a bit random. Like I said, I was just kind of grabbing stuff as I went, throwing it up on the counter. Now, I didn't put the stuff in the box. This box was mostly filled already, and I just took the whole box. First up, we have this draw knife. I think its brand is Albion, something like that. Then we have this Wisconsin Division American Auto Association AAA. And I believe these used to go on a license plate topper or something like that. I could be wrong, but I knew it was kind of unique, so I threw this in the box. Have a snap-on 75th year anniversary belt buckle. Have a made in China little multi-tool. Sort of a Leatherman knockoff, I guess. There's a right 3/4 inch 15/16. And also this snap-on logo nameplate. Looks like one of the tabs is broken off. Just has studs on it. They're not threaded or anything. Probably could replace that, or maybe 2 would be enough to hold it. Looks like we have a Stanley scratch awl. This is in pretty good shape. Looks almost new. Oh, I could use this. I was actually looking for one of these the other day and I couldn't find mine. Little tire gauge. I don't know if this is a silver spoon, but it could be. It's marked Hawaii. Might be just pewter or something. And there's an arrowhead in here. I don't know if that's homemade or if that's found. Another spoon here. This one's from Spain. Have a bunch more of the hex keys. Oh, this one's actually snap-on. That's a snap-on. That's Eklund. Oh, another snap-on. I had no idea. I just grabbed the box. This is another snap-on. And another snap-on. This set is obviously Eklund. Little scraper here. Some dividers. This one says Parker Tools, so I'll definitely be keeping that one. Got a nail set. Flashlight here. Looks like a mag light. Mini mag. Oh, it's snap-on branded mag light. Snap ring pliers. This looks like a Waldes. It is. Got a spark plug gapper tool, Blue Point. Also this Craftsman spark plug gapper. Some feeler gauges here. Craftsman's the first one. And a Blue Point gapping set. Looks like for spark plugs and points or, ignition type of gapper. These were in the box. I know that sometimes these actually have value. These are for a cuckoo clock, I believe, or grandfather clock possibly. There's some markings on there. It's probably the weight, I would imagine. This one says 250. Don't know if there's any sort of branding on them. But yeah, there's 2 of those in there. Snap-on chisel punch gauge. Snap-on clip, tie clip, 1/4 inch wrench. Some fuses. And then we got this newly sealed pocket rocket. Everybody needs a pocket rocket. It's a 9-volt mini screwdriver. And I've had these before, so I knew it was made for the Snap-on Tool Company. This is a Snap-on tool that was once upon a time sold or gifted or whatever they did with these. I don't imagine it's real popular, but I'm kind of cool to have it still sealed. So probably don't find too many of those. So there was a black bin when we started the video. Everything you see coming up next will be out of the black bin. Okay, I'm running out of room here. I'm going to have to start stacking stuff. First thing up is this Snap-on tool wagon, little holiday ornament. I assume it's still in the box. I didn't check. We got a Snap-on CJ86. This is part of a puller set. I have an S-Twing sledge. I think it's a 3-pound, 40 ounce. Well, I guess that's more like a 2.5 pound. Looks to be pretty new. Colton's number 10 file cleaner. I didn't check the brands on most of these. The first time I'm seeing this one, it's a Metatoyo wire and metal gauge. I think that's for metal and wire, not just wire. Also have this central tool micrometer. Looks to be, I think that would be a 2 to 3. And a central, what I assume is a 1 to 2. I had just thrown this one in there. I thought it was kind of neat. A little tool shop, a little cheapy 2-in-1 screwdriver. I have a slightly used and abused Starrett 1 to 2. It's pretty tight, but might be able to clean that up and make it working a little bit smoother. Next up is this Mohawk, made in the USA, little sledge style hammer. The handle looks like it's brand new. Not sure about the hammerhead. There was also this Imperial Eastman tubing cutter. A little box of Snap-on 2-inch long replacement stones for a brake hone. Here's something I've never had before. This is a Klein D305-6, I believe is the number. It's a duckbill pliers. I think that would be considered duckbill pliers or flat needle nose. Seems to be in really good shape. A crescent slip joint. A set of 3 Starrett telescoping gauges. I got kind of excited when I saw this. I thought it was Snap-on, but it's gear wrench. These are the ratcheting screwdrivers with the interchangeable bits. So it's got like a regular handle, stubby handle, T-handle, and there's some more bits in the box, I believe, or in a different box at least. I think I don't have all the bits, but I think I might have 3 or 4. There's a diamond diagonal cutter. So here's some Calvan stainless steel pocket rules. I'm guessing Calvan is the maker, made in the USA. On the end here, they say executive. That's the same thing all the Snap-on ones I have say. They say executive on the pocket clip. One of the cooler finds was this new in the package, a diamond nipper. Unfortunately, after years of sitting, it looks like it does have a little bit of rust under the plastic, which is unfortunate, but still kind of cool to have it new in the plastic. Here's a total random throw-in. I actually thought this was a tool. I didn't open it, and it's a harmonica made in Germany. Also in this box was this Kershaw. Now, it seemed like there was hardly anything in the box. I wasn't sure if the knife was in there. The knife is actually in there. It's an Ace, I believe they called it. An Ace 1710. I think it's made in China. I don't know if all Kershaw are made in China. So I imagine the box is so big because it probably had the sheath in it at one time. Also, this Diamond K18 slip joint. Looks like we got a little stamp. There were these number and letter sets. This one is marked Hansen, but it does say Taiwan. Let's see this other one. Young Brothers, Iowa. So that's likely a US made set. And there's also this, what I assume is a number set. It's a Greenfield 1/8. So we'll keep that set. And then the last one here is another Hansen. Also marked Taiwan on the bottom. That one was tipped upside down, I guess. So these are 1/8. So I'll probably keep the Greenfield and get rid of these. Before I bury it, I got something in the back here that's going to be hard to show, but I'll do my best. Here's the handle. It's, I would say, at least 30 inches long. And we have a 1-inch drive. It's hard to turn by hand. I think it needs to be cleaned. This is a Snap-on 1-inch drive. I can't read the number without cleaning it up. This is definitely an older one. It's missing the selector, but I guess they found something that'll work, because I definitely don't think that's the selector for this thing. Well, when I say definitely, I've been surprised before. So, got about a, definitely about a 3-foot long 1-inch drive ratchet. Try to put that back without breaking anything. Finishing off the box, the black tote. Got a Stanley number 24. I think they call these transition planes, where they were between the metal bodies and the wood bodies. And I didn't even know this was a snap-on. We got a snap-on 75th anniversary Swiss Army knife. So that's kind of a cool surprise. Okay, we are down to our last box. I'd like to say I saved the best for last, but I don't know if that's true, because I only kind of halfway looked at this box and just took it over to the checkout area. First item up here is a Tasco, would that be considered a monocular? Well, it's just one set of Stanley blades. It'll actually fit that little scraper we had earlier. Here's something I thought was cool. I'm kind of a car guy, so, well, I'm not kind of a car guy, I'm a car guy. Here's something I thought was cool, an old Hurst shifter handle, still new in the package. Made in China, of course. So, not sure when this was sold, but I would guess it's probably mid-90s, early 2000s. Got a big tongue and groove wrench here. Oh, it is actually a Blue Point. I thought it said Blue Point. I didn't have my glasses on. Blue Point. That's a, I don't know, about a 16-inch tongue and groove wrench. Here's a snap-on flashlight. I would imagine these old battery-operated flashlights aren't really worth anything anymore with all the rechargeables they have nowadays. Oh, proto slip joint. I'm just discovering the brands on these now because I just threw them in the box. Here we have a needle nose vice grip. I mean, I knew what some of this stuff was, but some of it just looked like it had a brand, so I threw it in the box. We have a Stanley Korea adjustable wrench. I believe this is a 3/4 drive. Yeah, it's a 3/4 drive. Got an SK socket on there, and this is an SK Wayne 3/4 inch breaker bar. This is a new in the box general micrometer. It's a 0 to 1. And I knew about this one because I put it in there. This is an SK Wayne 3/4 inch ratchet. This I was surprised to find amongst the stuff that I was searching through. It's a rotary swivel head, I guess you'd maybe call it. This is a 1/4 inch body with a 3/8 drive anvil on it. And I think it's actually sold that way. I don't think somebody modified it. It looks pretty much new. I'm not saying it's new. It looks a little used, but I couldn't believe this was in the pile of stuff that people were sifting through. I'll tell you the rest of the story when we're done with this box. Got some Blue Point feeler gauges, a Mac Sabina open-end wrench, snap-on brake tool, Blue Point 8-inch adjustable, snap-on, I think that's a number 0 Phillips, another snap-on number 0 Phillips, Craftsman 8-inch adjustable, snap-on nameplate. Both of the studs are good. I wonder if this is the one I need for the one box I have. I don't think it's old enough. Here's a made in the USA 6-inch. Is it Laco? Never heard of that one. So this box, I don't really know what's in the rest here. I saw that there were screwdrivers. I saw some good brands, so I just took the whole box. Obviously, it also looks like there's some no names in here. So I'll kind of pick at those. This looks like a Bonnie. Oh, it's a Stanley. I wonder if Stanley made Bonnie or Bonnie made Stanley. They look almost identical. This is a pretty big flat tip. This looks like a Husky, maybe. Yep. They look a lot like Craftsman, but the colors are slightly different. This looks like a knockoff Matco. I am seeing no branding, so I think that's just a knockoff. I don't think that's actually an old Matco. Here is a snap-on clutch head screwdriver. Here's some, is it Wera? Wera or Wera? I'm not sure. Wera? I'm not sure 100% how to pronounce it, even though I already have some of these screwdrivers, and they're very good screwdrivers. Happy to own them, and I use them all the time. Here's some more Snap-on. The number 3 Phillips, and just what's it? SSD 6. Yeah, it's a 6-inch shank flat tip. Here's a little feeler gauge, Blue Point. Another Stanley All. Here's a Wera Torx. What's that? Number 40 looks like. Here's a tool aid. I think that's a US made. I believe this is supposed to be a cotter pin puller. The tip needs to be reground a little bit. Stanley putty knife scraper. There is a ratcheting screwdriver in here. Can't quite make out that name. Oh, this is like a gearless. There's absolutely no sound to it, but it is ratcheting. I think it's a gearless ratcheting. That's kind of cool. Not sure who makes it. If anyone recognizes that brand, it's kind of washed away, and I can't make out enough of the lettering to figure it out. Then we got a Craftsman Torx screwdriver. Wera Phillips. Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson, like a, what is it? Like a 6-in-1. That's kind of cool. Here's some sort of bit for like a CNC or something like that. For holes in stumps. This is just a big drill bit, maybe? Whoa. Looks like the brand on here is Champion. Not sure where that's made. Oh, it's USA. 1 1/4 drill. Oh, I thought it was like a CNC bit, but it's just a big drill bit. Okay, what do we got here? Dunlop hex wrench set. Stanley flat tip. I think these are some truck cap hold downs. Here's a big set of hex wrenches. These are Eklund. We got a very tall and skinny Proto 1/4-inch socket. That has to be for a single purpose, I imagine. Professional Proto open end wrench. Chisel Stanley, reground a couple times. Diamond, I think it says K38 pliers. Oh, here's some of those bits that go to the gear wrench ratcheting screwdrivers. Here's a new Mac 2-piece screwdriver. That's kind of cool. Made in Taiwan. Come on, Mac. No name. Looks like an old Stanley. No name, no name. Craftsman number 2. Looks like, oh, here's a Klein 1/4-inch spinner handle. Looks like it's touched a little electricity there. It's got a little mark on it, like it's been jumping starters or something like that. All right, let's take out what looks to be the crap so we can go over the good stuff. This low pry bar, is this an S-Wing or no name? Oh, it's the Blue Point. Okay, that's kind of cool. 10-inch Blue Point. This one is heavy duty. Armstrong, USA. Bought at Goodwill for $4.99. My Goodwill never has tools. Crescent Crestalloy. I think this is a 10. Yep, 10-250. Okay, junk. Ace, a little stubby, interchangeable. I think most of what's left here is decent. There's a Craftsman. We got a little Looks to be an old pocket screwdriver. Snap-on. What's this? Made in China. Looks sharp. Doesn't look like it's been sharpened, so that's kind of nice. All right. Next up, we have a little pocket snap-on flat tip. Another one here. Red handle snap-on flat tip. Here's a snap-on. No, it's not. Somebody pay $5 for this? This is not a snap-on. It's a knockoff. Got a little Swiss Army knife here. I believe this is a snap-on. I think this handle was once upon a time clear. Man, it's so worn I can't even tell. It's a scratch hole, I think, unless somebody resharpened a #1 Phillips. This is a snap-on. Little flat tip. It's pretty beat up. I don't know what this 4-way is. This one's a no-name. Here we've got a little soft grip flat tip. I wonder which one they use to open the paint cans. What is this here? Well, this was a posi drive #1, and now it's some sort of a ice pick. Got another little snap-on flat tip down here. An SK stubby. This is a Mac #2. And the last, let me check around, but the last tool in this lot is going to be this SSTX 115. It says it's a Torx. Now that's interesting, because that would be the number for the stubby Torx. This is obviously not a stubby Torx. So this is interesting. So I think somebody just made this. I don't think this handle was replaced onto a snap-on tool. I don't think this is snap-on. I could be wrong, but I think somebody made this. Still a useful tool for sure. Okay, so you want to know the story about how I got all this stuff and what I paid for it. This auction that I won 6 lots at the day before, yesterday, I paid $3,000 for 6 lots full of tools. You'll see those in future videos. These are all the tools that were left over that they didn't have time to put into the auction. And when you got there, you picked whatever you wanted, and they gave you a price. So for everything you see on this table, I brought it up, put it in boxes. I asked them what they wanted. They took a little look over it. They said, how about 60 bucks? And you're probably having the same reaction right now that I was having. I could not believe that they were going to sell all this stuff for 60 bucks. Now, the day before, they did sell me $3,000 worth of tools, and on commission, they made about 500 bucks off of me. So, although I felt a little guilty, considering what happened the day before, I didn't feel quite as guilty. So this was the best tool score of my life for the price. And that's going to be all for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.